Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
You know. Not your average nigga, I'm a guy out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say. They see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big. You feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair. You had the advantage. We wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like...
Welcome, family, to Shifting the Culture podcast. I am your host, Brother King Cam, and I'd like to thank everybody for joining us tonight for this particular podcast, because we're going to be discussing our sister Monique and her recent comments that she made in reference to her husband. And there was a lot of different responses, should I say, when she did her interview and she actually revealed why she calls her husband daddy. If you know Monique and know anything about her relationship, you know, when she speaks publicly of her husband or when they've done interviews together and things of that nature, she refers to him as daddy. So we want to delve into that just a little bit tonight and talk about and really get some of your feedback as to, you know, your thoughts on her particular comments. So before, though, we get into that, I want to go ahead and make sure that I let everybody know that we're going to be playing, you understand me? We're going to be playing a good record by our brother, Golden Child, which is one of my favorite records out today. I'm going to say that again. All the hot music that's dropped, Golden Child has one of the hottest records out, and that is called Rebellious. So we're going to drop that Rebellious. We're going to listen to that, and then we're going to jump right into the topic for the night, family. So let's go ahead and get that pulled up. Oh, no, that's Brother Ben. Let's get this Golden Child.
There can never really be justice on stolen land. Are you really for peace and equality? Or when my car is hooked up, no, you're going to follow me. Your laws are minimal, because you won't even think about looking at the real criminal.
Rebellious. Make sure y'all go check this out now.
You know.
Yeah. Come on.
The victory belongs to the righteous.
All day.
Our power is in our unity. Yeah. Look. When you see me coming, know it's serious. Am I really like that? Ask the trenches if you curious. I still laugh and know how to have
a good time.
Just gotta ask God to forgive us for how we get when we furious.
Let's go.
Masculine, he, him, his. Yeah, I'm on that. Try to cancel me, you might get canceled. You should know that. No, I can't let them castrate me. No, sir, they won't pay me for my manhood. Keep it. We don't want that. U.S. soldiers come home and the people
thank them for their service. If they knew how many lives we saved, they thank us for our service.
Save some people's lives that might not ever know we saved them. Long as Allah pleased with how we out here working, then it's always worth it. Yeah, please don't get us confused. Yeah, we pushing peace,
but we get busy, we get violent too.
Got some brothers with the movement, but they ain't
got all they screws.
We just found the truth and we were
Allah come against us and you bound to lose.
Can't say I ain't warn you, can't say I ain't tell you. Come through with them ones, with the members called us failures. Grew up in the trenches, but it turned us into warriors. Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure. Look, they ask me, is this real or is this for the cameras? A lot of brothers say they fire people, but really be scammers. If all the work I put in was on camera, you would have that answer. What I look like doing this for clout? Look, I got higher standards. I don't need 100 soldiers with me, I got God with me. Still pull up deep to show the brothers unified with me. Know some brothers ready for whatever that's gonna ride with me. Got some real dedicated members on this side with me. Youngin' out his mind, off appeal, he think he's Superman. Off appeal, he get way out his body, think he's Super Saiyan. He just trying to escape the pain, for real, escape reality. Streets depressing, you can lose your mind and you can lose your head. Promise we been getting the trench together though, for sure that, They trying to tell us what to do, respectfully, we know that, Lot of commentary from them people on the sidelines. All that stuff they like to talk about, we really on that. So look, please don't get us confused. Yeah, we pushing peace, but we get busy, we get violent too. Got some brothers with the movement, but they ain't got all they screws. We just found the truth and we were Allah. Come against us and you bound to lose. Can't say I ain't warn you, can't say I ain't tell you. Come through with them ones, with the members called us failures. Grew up in the trenches, but it turned us into warriors. Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure.
Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure. Mama, I was born to buck the system, I'm rebellious for sure.
That's that Rebellious, family, by Golden Child. Make sure y'all check that out on all streaming platforms. So, all right. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and we want to get into what Sister Monique said. Sister Monique, right? She did an interview. And in her interview, she discussed why she calls her husband daddy. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually pull up that interview so that we can hear what she had to say. So let me do this. Entire screen. So we want to pull this up. There we go. All right. So here is Sister Monique and why she calls her husband daddy.
Why do you call him daddy? Because he's raising me. He's raising me. My father probably stopped giving me what I needed when I was around 13 years old. So now you got a woman that's 13 and now I'm 35 and now I got a bunch of money, what we consider to be a bunch of money. Let me just be real clear about that, okay? Now I got this money. Now I'm taking care of everybody. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna make me grow up? But when that man, when we were just best friends and when we got together, this is what he said to me. He said, when we were best friends and you were married to other men, you were not my responsibility. You were my sister, but not my responsibility. As my wife, you are my responsibility.
Okay, so now here's my thoughts.
All right. We don't want to hear your thoughts, brother. We're going to hear my thoughts. Not necessarily my thoughts, honestly. We're going to just go over what she said. You know, she mentioned the fact that she says her husband is raising her. Now, I'm just let you know my personal perspective is that I don't have I don't take a position either way based on what Monique said. You know, it's definitely well within her own prerogative to call her husband whatever she chooses to call her husband. It's their relationship. They can do what they want to do. You know, I want to look at the principle that I see in this situation. And the principle that I see in this situation is not necessarily what she calls her husband, but the role that her husband plays in her life as a protector, provider, but also one who instructs or teaches her, which I think is very important. Brother Minister Nuri, in his book called A Well-Made Man, goes over 12 traits that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan gave, which are called 12 leadership traits of a well-made man, right? And one of those traits is acquiring knowledge. Well, the Holy Quran states that men are the maintainers of women. I'm going to say it again. Men are the maintainers of women. Well, when you look at what a maintainer is, what is a maintainer, brothers? A maintainer is one who has in his care a possession or something or someone and they are now obligated to keep that person or that possession in its current state. Hold on. Let's get to it now. Let's get to it, because this is important for men to understand. It's not just about when you become a husband and you have the responsibility of a wife now, that you just bring money, bring food, and bring other things to the household, and now you a man. No, that's not just the whole of it. I want to share with y'all the definition from Webster of maintaining or maintenance. Maintain, maintained, maintaining, maintains. To keep in an existing state. As of repair, efficiency, efficacy, or validity. Preserve from failure or decline. To sustain against opposition or danger. To uphold and defend. To continue or to preserve. To support or to provide for. So when the Quran says that men are the maintainers of women, you are to preserve the woman. You are to support, provide for the woman. You are to sustain against opposition or danger, protect, uphold, and defend. All of this is part of your maintenance of the woman. To keep in existing state or preserve from failure or decline. Right? All of these are definitions of what maintain means. So as a husband, this is your responsibility. Well, as Monique's husband, his responsibility is to preserve her, is to protect her, keep her from danger, support and provide for her, but to also preserve from failure or decline. Well, we know that the physical things that are necessary to keep us from declining or from failure, food, shelter, clothing, all of those things come without saying. But then also knowledge is key. Knowledge and conversation and what you talk to one another about is important. The wisdom that you share with one another, because I don't believe that it's solely on men to impart knowledge on women in a role of teacher. I also believe that women impart knowledge and wisdom on men as well. But you have to be studying something. You have to be growing in wisdom to be able to impart wisdom on your spouse. So it's incumbent on both the husband and the wife to be studying the word of God, the divine wisdom and guidance of Almighty God through his scriptures, so that you have something to share with your spouse that will help grow them, help elevate them, and help maintain them. Yes, this is what I'm looking at. So in number 8 of the 12 leadership traits that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan went over, Brother Minister Nuri says this: a leader must have knowledge. If we are going to be above people, we have to be above people. If we are going to be in front of people, we should be in front of the people in multiple areas, but definitely in knowledge. What we find in the study of leadership is that ability and effectiveness are two different realities. You can have ability, but you don't necessarily be effective. You can have ability, but not necessarily effectiveness. They are two different realities. Ability will always be greater than effectiveness. If a person's effectiveness is a 5, their ability is a 7. The only way to increase their effectiveness in leadership up to a 7 is that they must raise their leadership up to a 9. I'm going to say that again. The only way to increase your effectiveness in leadership up to a 7 is that they must raise the leadership up to a 9. Effectiveness will always be a couple of notches below ability or knowledge. Effectiveness will always be a couple of notches below ability or knowledge. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan goes on to say, therefore, in leadership, one must study to improve themselves study leadership in and of itself, but not study so much that we don't soldier. Remember, the supreme wisdom says that this title of God can be accomplished with very little study. The minister about to break it down. So in order for you to improve yourself, you must be studying. Brother Minister Nuri goes on to say, the recommendation is that we study 1 hour a day, not 3, 4, 5 hours of study. What good is it for us to study 4 or 5 hours a day and have no converts? Studying, but no soldiering. It's better to soldier and study a little than study a lot and soldier a little. This goes for business, health, and every category of life. We cannot win in the game in the huddle. We cannot win the game in the huddle. This is what studying is. Studying is huddling. At a certain point, you got to go and run a play. Huddles are short. The game is long. Studying got to be short. Working what you studied got to be long. Well, what does all that have to do with knowledge and what Monique calling her husband daddy for? Well, because from her perspective, he imparts to her knowledge that helps raise her or improve her to levels that she was not at before she was in his life, before they became husband and wife. Put it like that, before they became husband and wife, because she mentioned in the interview that they were friends before they was husband and wife. So they knew each other for a very long time. However, when they got married, she mentioned that now she became his responsibility, which is absolutely true. And at this point, imparting knowledge, imparting wisdom, imparting divine guidance, if you're studying the divine word to your spouse, is important. And from that perspective, how she looks at it is a relationship in which she bestows upon him the name daddy. All right. Now, again, I don't know if that's the proper term that you should use, but that's the term that she is using, because as a father, you are supposed to bestow or impart knowledge onto your children. That's the responsibility of the father. So as black men, we have to be studying something. It's cool. It's all right to get money. It's cool to get the bag. Of course, we got to do that, especially those of us who got daughters. You know what I'm saying? If you're a girl dad, it's imperative that you get money and that you go and that you got your dollars up. That's just real. That's real. So I'm not dismissing none of that. But also in the process of getting money, spending time, which is also important, providing, obviously, financially, monetarily, all of those things are part of our duty. We should also, within that realm of things that we're doing or responsibilities that we have as a father, it should be studying. Not 3, 4, 5 hours, because we ain't got that kind of time. 1 hour a day. We should be studying something that will help increase us in knowledge. Because the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us that the black man is the original man, right? The maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Well, if the black man is God, and he is, and the black woman is the second self of God. So she's not a goddess. She's not God-like. She's God too, just the second self of God. And the minister says this part, that she's a degree below the God. The first self. She's a degree below, just a degree. So sisters, don't beat your brother up about saying that he's a degree. Because if you can't measure 1 degree. You can't tell the difference between 190. 9 degrees. You can't tell the difference. When you go outside and the temperature say 99 degrees, then you go outside and the temperature say 100 degrees, you don't know the difference. That's how small a degree is. So don't beat your brother up because I said that the black woman is a degree below the black man, God, and second self of God. But then check this out. The minister says that the woman is always looking to equal herself up to God. So if she's always looking to improve, because that's what that means. She's always looking to be better. Because the God should be doing the same thing. You should be studying to improve. You should be looking to be better than you was yesterday, today. Each day you should be getting better. You should be growing. You should be improving. If the black woman is always looking to improve herself and equal herself up to the God, then in order for her to do that, she's going to be looking to you for that wisdom that you got. Oh, she's going to be looking to you for the wisdom that you have received and studied. And she's going to be looking to you to impart that wisdom on her so now that she can grow. See? This is how you keep the power dynamics and the power couple, right? Because that's what we like to have. We want to have power couples. We want to be, Jay-Z and Beyonce, and that's what y'all want to be. So if you want to be a power couple like that, then this is important. Knowledge is very important to your ability to be able to grow. And that's just real. That's just real. So some people, I haven't even had an opportunity to listen to the Backlash because they said it was some backlash. They said Monique responded to Backlash. I haven't had an opportunity to actually check it out, but I did see it posted on YouTube. Different people had put out some different podcasts, all of those different things. So I'm not exactly sure what the whole outcry was about as far as the backlash. So I'm actually interested in hearing that perspective. So let's go ahead and see what the backlash was about what she said. Pull that up real quick. Let's pull that up real quick. Okay, cool. We're going to pull this up. Said there was some backlash. All right, let's see. Oh, the commercials.
With Flonase, allergies don't have to be scary. Spraying Flonase.
I'm not even let y'all see the commercial right now. But we're going to see what this backlash is talking about.
Appeared on Bernie's Daughter's podcast with Janice McCullough. For those who don't know, Janice is the daughter of the late and great Bernie Mac, and she's just started her own podcast.
Wow, didn't know that. Did not know that. That's dope. All right.
Where she's hosting conversations about life and legacy with some of her father's former peers, like Cedric the Entertainer and Monique. During the conversation, the Queen of Comedy would go viral for her stance on why she calls her husband, Sidney Hicks, daddy.
And a lot of black women would say, why do you call him daddy? Because he's raising me. My father probably stopped giving me what I needed when I was around 13 years old. So now you got a woman that's 13, and now I'm 35, and now I got a bunch of money, what we consider to be a bunch of money. Let me just be real clear about that, okay? Now I got this money. Now I'm taking care of everybody. Who gonna check me, boo? Who gonna make me grow up? But when we were just best friends, and when we got together, this is what he said to me. He said, when we were best friends and you were married to other men, you were not my responsibility. You were my sister, but not my responsibility. As my wife, you are my responsibility.
Now, Monique has explained this before, but that wouldn't stop social media from providing thoughts on their own, both in support and against what Monique had to say. Several users in the Instagram comments of both the Bernie's Daughters podcast and the Shade Room said, I think raising was the wrong word. Your husband is helping you grow. You already raised yourself. Also, a lot of women call their man daddy. I mean, your father literally passes you off to the man in marriage. This is why we got a generation of unmarried and unhappy females. You got the roles conflicted. She's right in her own manner. That's her showing respect to the only man that has had her back. Y'all gotta stop with y'all disruptive and hateful comments. Go ahead, Monique, I always got your back. This is sad, but not uncommon. I think many people, both men and women, fetishize over this dynamic because of unresolved trauma. Of course, Monique is no stranger to backlash, as she would take the time to respond to the criticism on her own Instagram. She would post a portion of the interview with McCullough where she has made those comments, then share a video of the controversial author, Shahrazad Ali, who is most known for writing the book, The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. Monique's caption read, "Hey, my sweet sisters. For the ones that get it, you get it. For the ones that don't, you don't. Whatever works for you in your relationship. I love us. Thank you for your wisdom, Miss Shahrazad Ali."
This is what you have to remember. The average black woman in America don't get no older than about 14. So just talk to her and deal with her like you dealing with a 14-year-old. Don't come at her like you dealing with an equal, because she's not going to be able to accept that. You got to go way back. And we cut off at about 14 to 15. We don't develop and mature no further until we get some new information and accept some different information.
Just like Monique, Shahrazad Ali is no stranger to controversy, as she's ruffled some feathers throughout her career for her opinions, which many consider problematic. In addition to these comments from Ali, one of the most jarring passages in her book of The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman reads, "There's never an excuse for hitting a black woman anywhere but in the mouth, because it is from that hole in the lower part of her face that all her rebellion culminates into words. Her unbridled tongue is the main reason she cannot get along with the black man. She often needs a reminder. This does not mean that she needs or wants to be battered or beaten to a bloody pulp. However, if she ignores the authority and superiority of the black man, there is a penalty. When she crosses this line and becomes viciously insulting, it is time for the black man to soundly slap her in the mouth." The theme of Monique and Ali's points appears.
All right. So that was the backlash. Okay, some backlash. Well, there's a little bit of backlash, but not too much backlash. I mean, I'm cool with that. I mean, because she had some support, and then you have some people who just don't understand. So you got to realize you got so many people who come from toxic families. So many of us grew up in dysfunctional households. We grew up with the husband and the wife, or the father and the mother dynamic was just thrown off. So we don't really know proper respect for one another, proper respect for the black man as the head of the household, proper respect for the black woman. So it's a lot of different things that we have going on from our own personal traumas and experiences that give credence to how we respond to something like this. And one of those things is you don't see a lot of black women who respect a respectable black man. That's the key. See, the black man deserves respect, just like the black woman deserves respect. However, both have to be respectable. And if Monique is saying to us that her husband is respectable, and this is how she shows respect, then there's nothing that we can really say about that. And no matter what your personal experiences are aside, there's nothing that we should be able to say about how she shows respect to her husband, who is respectable. I think the problem is, though, is that we don't know what, or we either have not seen an example of a respectable black man or woman, so we don't know what it looks like, or we've had so many bad experiences that even when you come into contact and engage and build a relationship with a respectable black man, it's still certain things that you don't see yourself doing because of all of the past trauma that hasn't been healed. So when you get into these relationship eras, this is why divine wisdom is so important when it comes to relationships, because even the people who are out here giving so-called relationship advice are damaged. They're damaged. They're giving you advice from their own personal experiences and what they've seen. They got some toxicity in their past relationships. They probably got some abuse, whether it's verbal or physical abuse, in their past relationships. They got infidelity in their past relationships. So these people are giving you advice from a dirty glass, if you will. They're giving you advice from a dirty glass. So it's best that you get advice from divine wisdom, divine knowledge. And that's given to us in both the Holy Quran and in the Bible. So that's the best place to take your relationship advice from, and one who interprets the divine wisdom and how those principles can be applied to your relationship. That's the best relationship guide for you. And the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the best example, being married to his wife for over 60 plus years they've been married. The minister don't have no scandals. He don't have any of that. And the minister has done multiple lectures, keys to a successful marriage. What are your roles? Right? These are lectures that the minister has done about the importance of marriage, relationship, divine femininity, what it is to be a man, how you operate within those different roles that you have to ultimately become one. Because the minister said, when you get married, like at the wedding, that's not the end. You're not married when you go through the ceremony. That's only the beginning, excuse me, of the process of the journey to being married or becoming married. Because the end goal of becoming married is that you become one. You become one. You become one with your spouse, ultimately one with God. That's the ultimate journey. And that's the end of the road for marriage. So it's a constant growth. It's a constant arena of learning that's taking place, because as you mine out the person that is your person, you're mining them out during this process. Meaning the person that you go through the ceremony with is not the person that you end up with at the end. So you have to do a mining. You have to do the job of a mining, meaning you got to dig this person out. And that means that each and every day, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, is you're constantly learning each other. You're constantly being exposed to new things about this person. You're exploring one another. And in that exploration of one another, you become closer. You become bonded. You become one. That's the process. That's the process. But you have to be a respectable person. You have to handle your business as a man and as a woman to even garner that type of respect. And because some of us come from a background, come from experiences where black men wasn't holding up their end of the bargain. I'm just being real. That's just keeping it all the way real. You know, a lot of black men drop the ball. A lot of us drop the ball because we want to drop the ball. A lot of us drop the ball because we have not been exposed to or seen a good example that teaches us how not to drop the ball. Examples are important. And, you know, people can say, well, you grown, you don't need all that. Examples are important. There are grown people that go to school that still need examples. When you get to school, if you in college and you taking a course, you don't understand something, they give you examples. They give you examples even without you asking for one, because they already understand how the human mind works. You have to see it work. You have to see the concept proven in order for you to be able to conceptualize the theory behind it. So people can't talk to you about how great marriage is, how great being a husband is, or how great being a wife is, and you can't conceptualize that theory by having an example put before you that shows you that it actually can work. It's actually a reality. That's not how that works. It's the same thing with positive role models and all these different things. You have to have examples. So when you see the youth out here wilding, that's because it's not enough examples, strong, positive examples that can take them away from the negative examples. So examples are important, because the scripture says, how will they know except they have a teacher? And how would they have a teacher except one be sent? See, the enemy loves dysfunction, confusion, chaos. He's the agent of it. So he's not going to send you a teacher that's going to help heal the wounds that the enemy created. See, Satan understands that cornerstone for nation is strong family units. So if you can break up the family with crack, if you can break up the family with slavery, if you can break up the family with mass incarceration, if you can break up the family with these different types of weapons, then you know you can reduce the ability to build a strong nation. So understanding family units are the core to building a strong nation. This is what Satan attacked us at. This is why we were separated in slavery, broke up the family. This is what mass incarceration did, broke up the family. Crack cocaine into our communities, drugs, breaking up the family. Now, guess what? There's no teachers. There's no good examples for the youth that's coming up because people strung out on drugs, people going to jail. No examples around. So now you got to lean on your own understanding. The exact opposite of what the scripture says, which is lean not on your own understanding. But this is how they keep everything dysfunctional, toxic, and chaotic so that you can never grow. You can never build. You can never be that which God made you to be because you're not operating in which the God made for us to operate. That's just what it is, family. So the negative responses that Monique is receiving, it comes from that mindset. Not having the right examples, not seeing black men having any type of respect. And I'm no Shahrazad Ali fan. Not one. But you got to recognize some truth in what she's saying. And of course, we don't advocate any type of violence or abuse. Verbal abuse is, though, even more harmful than physical abuse. So while we don't advocate for no abuse, verbal abuse is just as bad, if not worse, than physical abuse. So when she talked about and highlighted the point of women becoming viciously insulting to men, that's verbal abuse. Now, I know what happened. We got triggered when she talked about popping people in the mouth and doing all that. We got triggered. And rightfully so, you can get triggered, especially those who got beat up and been beating people up. Because you got women that got triggered because they got beat up. And then you got women who got triggered because they've been beating brothers up. Brothers, you see what I'm saying? So this is what's going on. But if you look at it for what she's saying, the words, the logic, take the emotions out of it, then you can see what she's addressing is the verbal abuse. She's talking about verbal abuse, and most women take their anger out through the words that they say. This is why the Bible says that you can speak life and speak death with the power of the tongue. The power of the tongue speaks life and speaks death. This is why you have to be careful about the things that you say. This is why those who have platforms have to be responsible for the things that they say. So when you see me or somebody else getting on hip hop artists, entertainers, comedians for their platforms and just doing whatever they do to get a bag, but you influence generations that are coming after you, especially the youth, then you have a responsibility to watch what you say, because you're either speaking life or you either speaking death to those who are watching you. And the same thing goes in relationships. You're either speaking life or you're either speaking death to your spouse. So you have to be careful about the things that you say. Not saying that you don't have emotions, because all of us have emotions. Men and women have emotions. But you have to be able to control your emotions and not say things in the heat of the moment that you may regret. Because that's what happens. So what she was addressing was the verbal abuse that takes place in a lot of relationships. And a lot of women get away with verbal abuse, leaning on the fact that men should not be able to retaliate. But the minister actually spoke on this. And he said that women should not push men. So somebody has to be the prevailing cool person. See, the cooler temperatures and attitudes have to prevail. So if both of y'all are going at it, somebody has to be the one to say, we got to cool out. Let me cool this thing out. Because we don't want to take it to a level where then somebody is pushed to the limit and then they do something that they shouldn't be doing. But you don't push people even to that limit, so you don't even get to that point. So that's why I said cooler heads have to prevail. So if you in an argument, in a situation, and you see it escalating, Somebody got to de-escalate. So if he not de-escalating, you got to de-escalate, sisters. Sisters, you got to de-escalate. Brothers, same thing. If she not de-escalating, you got to de-escalate. But both of y'all can't be so emotionally charged that nobody de-escalates the situation and you both push each other to the limit. Because it's y'all fault now. Once you push each other, it's your fault what happens after that. That's why having control of your emotions is so important. Because you have to accept responsibility for the things that you do. And it's funny that we toss that around a lot. Oh, you need to accept responsibility. We have to be accountable. See, we only want to be accountable and talk about accountability when we're not the ones that have to be accountable. See how that works? See, we love the Bible. We love church. We love what the preacher talking about, long as it don't condemn our BS. But soon as the book get to condemning us, we don't like that part of the Bible. When the preacher get the condemning us on what he's saying, you don't want to hear that, you get up and walk out. It's time to go. Children acting up, time to roll. See, we good with the word, long as it's not condemning our foolishness. But that's the beauty about the word. It condemns everybody's foolishness. You're not the only one. And that's where the accountability comes into place. So being accountable. So once we're able to employ these different things in our lives, this is why the minister said that self-improvement is the basis for community development. Self-improvement. See, these are things that we can add to ourselves to improve ourselves and make ourselves better. Then when we get into relationships with people, it's only up from there. And then you start to meet as you go out. You meeting respectable men, respectable women, right? And then you see, and you know how to deal with that. You see how this is supposed to go, and then you know how to react accordingly, right? Your attitude is different. Your attitude is different. You got a lot of people who believe a certain thing based on their experiences, and beliefs aren't based in facts. Belief is based in experiences. And those beliefs form your attitude towards something. So when you see people negatively react to a thing, more than likely they have had a certain negative experience, which has given them that attitude. So with that being said, what Monique is doing in her own way, and again, that's why she said, whatever works for you. It's not a blanket thing. Everybody don't have to go around addressing their husband the way that she addressed her husband. Brothers have ways they address their wives that's specific to their own relationship. However, we should be, as men, understanding the role that we have and the duty that we have, which is to impart knowledge. And as one who imparts knowledge, a lot of people look up to you as a role model or as a mentor or even as a father type figure, especially when you're older, when you're the older one in the situation. People look to you as a father type figure. So if that's the youth, people, that's why they say, about their mentors and things like that, that you are like a father to me, father figure, right? All of these different type of things. Well, wisdom lends to that father-child-like relationship, because as a father is supposed to have wisdom. And as a man, you're supposed to give wisdom to your wife, impart wisdom to your wife, because you should be studying the same way as the sisters should be studying to help impart wisdom to their husbands. It's a two-way street. It's a two-way street. Because it's the weight of the world is on the black man, and he needs inspiration and consolation from the divine word of God. And if he hasn't gotten it on his own study, sister, you supposed to be doing some studying so that you can now give it to him. You could give it to him. You can give him the words from his God on how to solve whatever issues he got going on. That's just a beautiful thing. That's just a beautiful thing. So, overall, everybody gonna have their opinion. Social media has created a platform for everybody to give their opinion. Nothing wrong with that. But I always like to bring up the principles. This is one of the things on Shifting the Culture that we do is we have principally based conversations. Because in what Monique was talking about is a principle. a respect that she has, a reverence that she has for her husband for being the type of husband that every man should strive to be. One who's a protector, provider. As we went over, the definition of maintainer is one who keeps in shape, right? Who prevents failure, who supports. All of these different things are part of the definition of maintaining. And through his wisdom, through his ability to support her and things of that nature, she feels like this is how she communicates with him. And this is how they show love and respect to one another. I believe it's a beautiful thing. I love black love. You got to love black love. You feel me? You got to love black love, and we can't find all these different type of issues to have about why somebody else loving on their husband and loving on their wife the way that they do. Why don't you go get you some business? Go get you a husband, get you a wife, and then you go love on yours, right? And then we all just be one big happy family. So that's all I got tonight, family, with Shifting the Culture. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I appreciate everybody for checking in. Y'all already know this international platform. So I keep my people from Texas and Canada and the Caribbean and Africa and Atlanta, all in the States, right? New York City, Richmond, Virginia, all over the place, man, tapping in and Shifting the Culture. We appreciate the support. If you would like to be a part of the community, what I would like for you to do is at the bottom of the screen, you'll see where it says text STC Podcast to 888-294-2793. Again, that number is 888-294-2793. You're going to text the word STC Podcast to that particular number. Shout out to the Facebook family. Shout out to the YouTube family. Shout out to the Twitter family. Shout out to everybody. Make sure that you hit that, smash that like button. Smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel. Make sure that you like, share, comment on our Facebook family. We want to grow the numbers. We want to bring more people over to Shifting the Culture. As always, I want to deputize everybody to get them over to check out what we're doing over here, because it's extremely important. There's not a lot of positive media. This is where we had these Shifting the Culture conversations, where we're talking about hip-hop, we're talking about entrepreneurship, tech, business, but we moving the needle forward and getting away from those old stereotypes on how we think, how we conduct ourselves, how we relate to one another, all those beautiful things, family. So again, I appreciate you all for tuning in, and may Allah continue to bless you with the light of understanding, and I leave you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own.
You know. Not your average nigga, I'm a guy out the hood. They can't downplay me. I came up, I'm elevated. I ain't gotta say too much for them to know I'm coming for what's mine. You know they see me in my presence, say they see how I'm coming. Young, but you not just gonna finesse me like you did my peoples. Then back when you said they was emancipated. This ain't that. Your head too big, you feeling yourself. The game wasn't fair, you had the advantage, we wasn't educated. I don't look at you people the same. Nah. Your worst nightmare, my skin tone about them chains. Yeah. Not no circus lion, son, I can't be tamed. You gon' have to kill me, pussy, Toby ain't my name. Y'all still want us think our history started when we were slaves? What? Come on now, talk about them pyramids we made. I was chosen by that man, you know y'all just been running game. The nerve of you acting like